Hey guys, you already know what's going on here. We've got a Banlist prediction video today for you. So to start off in the top left, we're actually going to be talking about Called by the Grave. When this card first came out, it was a staple in almost every deck just to help combat hand traps, which almost there was no way to stop except with counter traps like Solemn Strike or just having a monster on the field that could already negate the effect. Now, Call by the Grave has fallen out of favor over the last few months. The only time you see it now is in very explosive, very degenerate combo decks. You go to hand trap something, they Call by the Grave, and now they're free to finish their combo where they lock you out of the game. If combo decks can do all of that, why do they need the added protection? Time for this card to go to 1. Next up, we've got Blaster, Dragon Ruler of Infernos. This is the worst Dragon Ruler that is currently banned. It is free to come back to 1 just like Tempest. Redox and Tidal, on the other hand, cannot come back. Redox is very good as a monster reborn, and also it would be played in Adamancipator immediately. And that has the same thing to do with Tidal. Tidal would be immediately played in water decks. They function with Mermail, functions with Atlantean, and with those two archetypes getting new support with the Deep Sea archetype, those two Dragon Rulers won't be coming back for a while, but Blaster will. Now, recently, Dinosaur's got some new support in Eternity Code. It was in the form of Jewel Beast. This card can destroy a card out of your hand and search a double evolution pill, so it can trigger your baby Ceresaurus and then get you to your double evolution pill. And then, of course, you can link the Jewel Beast away for something, and now you have 2 dinosaurs in your grave to summon your conductor. That's why it's time for dinosaurs to take a hit. They really don't need Oviraptor anymore. The card can go to 1. Now, next up, we have the Seer and Graph, which are actually both at 3 in OCG and not really doing anything. And keep in mind that Burning Abyss has been taking a lot of hits lately. There's no longer the Block BA version, so it's time for Pure to kind of step back into the spotlight. Next up, we have Mystic Mine, the cancer of the game. This is a card that people have been calling to be banned, banned, again and again and again and again. Every single day you see this card, someone saying this card needs to be banned, someone saying this card needs to be banned. But I feel like this card can actually go to 1. The reason being is I feel like it's very bearable at 1 and it kills the toxic, degenerate Mystic Mine burn strategies. Burning decks really weren't good until Mystic Mine came out. So if you put Mystic Mine to 1, it gets rid of those mediocre decks that can only function while Mystic Mine is around. But Mystic Mine is also tolerable at 1. Next up, we've got Mecha Phantom Beast Olion. The reason I chose this and not Jet Synchron is because with Jet Synchron, if you hit Jet Synchron, nothing really changes. You can still get out to your Crystron Halka Fibrax with 1 card. You just do it different ways. But if you hit Mecha Phantom Beast Olion, you no longer have the Olion that's a level 2 tuner to make Savage Dragon, and you don't get the token from Olion going to the grave. That's why Olion can go to none. Next up, we've got some Pendulum Monsters. Now, the reason this card can come back is because the FTK could only be done while Electromite was around. But just to be safe, this card can go to 1. Next up, we've got Double Iris Magician, another card that went from 3 to 0 because of Electromite. So with Electromite out of the picture, it's time for this card to return. And that also applies to Skullcrabat, and it applies to Astrograph as well. But you can also just be safe and put these cards to 1 or 2. But do keep in mind that all 3 of these cards were only hit because of Astrograph being very good for Electromite, your Skullcrabat being able to search your Double Iris, and your Double Iris being the best possible card that could be destroyed by Electromite. All those cards were only banned because of Electromite. Time for them to come back. Next up, we've got True King of All Calamities. Pretty much the boss monster to any degenerate combo. No one wants to see this card around anymore. Then is Magical Meltdown. This is the reason that Invoke can be used as an engine besides just being an independent deck of its own. So if we limit this card, it might not be the consistent engine that it is for pretty much any deck that doesn't use its normal summon anymore. And it can also just make the deck still be able to play. So you can't really hit Invocation and you can't hit Alistair, because if you hit those two cards, then the deck can't really function on its own, and it also, of course, can't function as an engine. But if you hit Meltdown, it's the complete different case. Next up is Moon Glacia, the Elemental Lord. The reason that this card has to be hit is because Water always has some kind of like degenerate hand loop combo with this card, and now they have all this new support to make the deck even better. They don't need Moon Glacia anymore. They can do fine without it. Finally is Block Dragon. Block Dragon, of course, is the degeneracy making Adamancipator as good as it is. If Block Dragon takes a hit, then Adamancipator won't be as good anymore. And the reason that we have to hit cards like Block Dragon currently is because everything that's dual, Overload, and newer, we can't hit. None of those cards had any official play yet due to quarantine and lockdowns, so none of those cards can be hit. They're completely safe from the upcoming ban list. However, the cards that are teched into these decks are not. Block Dragon also has to go to 0 because it limits future card design. We can't really have any good rock archetypes like Adamancipator because of Block Dragon. And speaking of cards that can't be hit because they're too new, is Union Carrier. But a card that makes Union Carrier very good is Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. This is another card that can be banned because it just limits the card design and the ability of Union Carrier, making people feel like Union Carrier's the problem when it's actually Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. Now, going back over to Dinosaurs, card has way too much utility. This card can just summon stuff out of your deck and act as a hand trap. It's another card for Dinosaurs to go to 1. And finally is Thunder Dragon Colossus. I would love to say that this card can go to 3, but it can go to 1. Honestly, I don't even know how I would fit 3 copies into my extra deck going forward. Look at that, we have no semi-limited cards, no one really semi-limits anything anymore, and the semi-limited list is so small these days. But Colossus can go to 1, but if it went to 3, I don't even know how I would fit it in, due to how the extra deck looks right now. I really can't wait to put out that Thunder Dragon list for you guys. Once again, thank you for getting me to 100 subscribers. I hope you guys look forward to the Thunder Dragon profile I have coming out. I'm honestly just waiting on Link Ross to come in the mail, so I can show you guys some really cool combos I've come up with, and show you guys what Thunder Dragons can do in the future. So be on the lookout for that, and make sure to subscribe to the channel, and make sure that you check down the description below. You can find our TCG Player affiliate link. So when you shop TCG Player, make sure to use our link. It costs you nothing extra, supports the channel directly. So let me know what you guys thought of this ban list prediction. This is TCG Toasty TCG signing out.